Going live, and I am going live in 2 places. That's right, saying hi to Facebook and hi to YouTube. This is Sharon Koenig of fearless.com. So I'm here on Fearless and PowerTube for a lot of my followers, and I wanted to come on here and talk about something, but I want to ask you a question. What if you could learn what the top online entrepreneurs know? How would that make you feel, right? I think it's a no-brainer, right? But it's a really great question because I think that the online space is getting extremely noisy. Would anybody agree with that? And by the way, if you are stopping by, I would love so much for you to say hello to me and tell me where it is you are coming from. So you here on YouTube, say hi to me, tell me where you're coming from, and you here on Facebook, make sure that you say hello to me and tell me where you are tuning in from. So I wanted to, hey, there's Dawn. It's good to see you, Dawn. All right. Well, I asked you this question, so be sure to make comments here when I ask you these questions so we can be more interactive, right? So how would you feel if you could learn what the top online entrepreneurs know? I mean, to me, it's a no-brainer, right? It would make me feel on top of the world, right? I feel like we're inundated with a lot of strategies here online, and it tends to overwhelm us. Tell me if you have felt overwhelmed with your business, like you're not sure about what to do, and sometimes it gets to be kind of crazy and you don't really know how it is to market your business, or sometimes you get kind of stuck in your head because maybe it's not happening and unfolding the way that you want it to. I know I've been there. This has happened to me many times. So, I feel like, we're getting inundated with strategies. I mean, we hear them all the time, how to get clients and, get a bigger following, for example, make more money, right? This is what we hear so much of, and it tends to make us feel like we don't even know where to begin. Some of us are in different places in our businesses than others. And there is no crime in that. Certainly, if you're at a beginner stage and you really don't know what to do, there's no crime in that. Everybody starts from the bottom, right? Everyone starts from scratch, from the beginning. And we all need to build a bigger following. We need to know about the strategies, right? But I want to challenge you here. This video here, this live stream is going to be a little bit more of a rant. I'm working with someone right now, and it is one of those things where I see people struggling so much with one particular thing. So I really wanted to touch base with you on this topic. So you here on YouTube, you'll be able to comment with me as I go along with this, and you here on Facebook as well. So, tell me, why did you start your business? When we start thinking about all the strategies that we should be doing in our business, right? We start to get lost, right, in some of the aspects of our business. So why did you start your business from the very beginning? We get lost, right? Most people, when they start their business, they start it because they want to make a big impact on the world. They want to make a big impact on a particular demographic. There's maybe a passion that you have for a certain demographic, maybe a passion for something that you love inside of you. Maybe you just want to make some money. I mean, there are lots of people out there that just have these grandiose ideas of making tons and tons of money. But whatever it is for you, it's really important for us to really know why it is we started our business, because we get stuck in the strategies, especially here as an online entrepreneur, because we're hearing so many different things about what it is we need to do. So again, be sure to interact with me if you're here online with me and something I say just really piques your interest, or maybe answering one of the questions. Why did you start your business? Do you get stuck in the strategies? Do you get stuck in your mind with maybe looking at your competitors, for example? And that was something that I used to do quite a bit. So if that's something that you are doing, then stick around, because we're going to start talking about some things that are really, really going to help you along the way. So did you start your business because you wanted to make a bigger impact? Did you start your business because you wanted to make more money? Which is it? Tell me here in the comments. I'd love to hear why you started your business. I totally get it though, because I was there too. Once upon a time, I had all of these dreams and all of these ideas of what it was I wanted to do. I wanted to make a big impact on the world. And, why not make some money along the way, right? And there's no crime in that, because we need to be able to make money so that we can do more things with the world, make it a better place, and help our families out. So there's really no reason why we shouldn't do that. So Don here says that he wants to make an impact and income. Definitely, that is what a lot of people feel. That's true. It's true for me as well. So, I totally get it. Whatever the results are, you want more, right? Whatever it is, whatever the reason was that you started your business, you want more, don't you? I know I do. I want the moon, the big pizza pie, right? This is why we're on business. This is why we do what we do every single day. But one of the biggest problems that we have today in this online digital world is we tend to get lost. And it causes us to not really create the impact that we want on the people that are following us, our tribe. And you've got to really protect yourself against that. So that's one of the reasons why I feel like this is a rant here. A client of mine that I'm working with is dealing with this right now. And I love to be able to share what it is that my clients are struggling with you here, because I think it really helps you so much when we work through some of these things. And it's, in a sense, it's like a session, a client session. So Don says, I also desire financial and creative freedom. And I love that. Yes, Don, I think a lot of people want to have that creative freedom, and we get stuck here in the online space because it's so different now. And I've been in the online game since 1994. So I've been in the online space and an entrepreneur for many, many decades. So I understand what it's all about. And I can tell you from my own personal experience and from working with people all across the world, it gets very noisy. It gets very, very overwhelming. And it's really unfortunate, because we really are not able to do the things that we want to do in our business. So we've got to be able to work on these strategies that I'm talking about here, what the top online entrepreneurs are doing, why it is some people are so much more successful than other people. I mean, have you ever wondered why some people are able to have a great deal of success in such a short amount of time? That was something that I really struggled with from the very beginning. I wondered, I'm doing all the things, and why was I not reaching that success? And now, mind you, I've been online since the 90s, right? But I can tell you, the online space has changed drastically. I mean, drastically. It was so much easier back in the 90s and the early 2000s to make a name for yourself, make money online. But the word got out, a lot of people are doing it, and so now what we need to do is we need to stand out. That's how we're going to be able to create that impact and create the financial freedom, that creative freedom that we want, which is why we started our business in the beginning, right? So as you're working day by day, and let's ask Dawn, since Dawn has been the one that has been talking to me so much. So when you're working day to day, hello Eddie, it's good to see you. When you are working day to day, are you, what is, how weird, I'm hearing myself and I don't know why. Hang on, I don't know what that's about. Hopefully that's corrected. Okay, good. So when you're stuck in the strategies and doing all the things that you're supposed to be doing, do you feel like you're actually able to have that creative freedom to do what it is you want to do? And what I mean by that, oftentimes it's referred to as the zone of genius. What is your zone of genius? What is it that you could do day in and day out and be in flow? So what is flow, right? It's not your aunt Flo. It's not, a name. Flow is something that you feel when you're doing something that you absolutely love to do. And this is an important thing for us to feel on a daily basis. So if it's something in your business, hopefully you're doing that every single day. And yes, there's a lot of things in business that we do that are kind of like cleaning toilets, to be quite honest, right? It's something that we don't really enjoy doing. Paying taxes is one of those. The administrative tasks are another thing that we don't really enjoy doing, right? But we realize that sometimes when we're doing these things, we often lose our passion. We often lose that flow. And hopefully, if you are not feeling that in your business, maybe after this video, after we go through this, you'll start doing things differently. But if not, hopefully you're doing something that creates flow in your personal life, because this is a necessary thing that all of us have to do. So I work with high performers. Everyone knows that, if you're a high performer and you want to be a badass in business, you come to me. I'm Fearless Pursuits. I'm all about creating a high impact for my clients, helping them to create that. So that's something that is really important for us, and it's a small little thing that you can do, and that is to create flow in your business. And if you can't create flow in your business, you're in that struggle phase, create flow in your personal life. This is a very key thing to be doing. So Don says, for me, it's trusting my intuition and remaining consistent with the necessary daily actions. So I get that. So thank you for commenting, Don. So the thing about that is, when you're talking about trusting your intuition and remaining consistent, are you able to actually be in flow with that? Are you actually having that creative freedom that you say that you want? We realize that when we're working in our zone of genius, after all, we started our business because we want more, right? We want that freedom to do what it is we want, right? So if you're struggling to trust your intuition, are you remaining consistent and creating those necessary actions to also create that freedom, that creative freedom of being in your zone of genius? I think this is a real important distinction. It's something that we really need to talk about more. So when we're talking about achieving a great deal of success, a lot of people, especially in the online space, they are looking at strategies. Just tell me the strategies. Just tell me the steps. What is it that I need to do? What am I missing? I realize that, I'm either beginning my business, or I'm in the middle phases of my business, or I am trying to reach multiple six figures or even seven figures. Okay, so a lot of people that are working with me are at different levels, and that's great. But the thing is that they want to know just the steps, right? Just tell me the steps. What do I need to do? And sometimes that is exactly what they need to do. Maybe they're just missing something, especially those people that are in the multiple six figures, because they kind of get being an online entrepreneur and being visible and standing out. So, I understand that they want to achieve, more success, and they're just constantly talking about the strategies, right? I mean, has anyone ever been, thinking about, I just want to know the strategies? Is that what it is for you? Or what is missing? You want to know what's missing for you, right? So we can talk strategies all day long, right? And I can give you lots and lots of strategies. But why do some entrepreneurs succeed with the strategies? They say that they're doing all the things, while some of them just can't seem to make the break. They've done the blog, they've done the podcast, they're all over social media, and they can't seem to create that success. They're doing the strategy. Something's missing, right? So Jackie says here, oftentimes the inner critic rests its ugly head. I love the way that you say this, Jackie. This is so important to us. Yes, when you're really touching on something that we're going to be getting into, when we're asking this question, what is it that the top online entrepreneurs know that helps them grow the business? And Jackie is touching on something that is part of the strategy. So a lot of people are failing in their business, right? They've tried all the things. It's important to work on these strategies. I'm not going to lie, it is, but it's a tiny part. We need to know the steps, right? There's always these missing pieces along the way, especially because being an online entrepreneur means that you need to be abreast of all of the ever-changing things that are going on with social media and the Web 2.0 and the interwebs, right? So we realize that if this is what we're trying to do, we have to understand the bits and pieces of the strategies, but there's got to be something more, right? Because you've already been doing so much of it. So what is it? So it's the one thing, well, there's actually a couple of things. I want to ask you this question, okay? Do you really, 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 really love what you're doing? Do you love your business? Do you love what you're selling? So there's three different questions. I think one of the most important questions here is, do you love what you're selling? I think this is a really important question. And if you are stopping by here and you're watching, please leave in the comments here. I want to know, do you love what you're selling? And do you think that this is an important question? I definitely do. And this is why I think it's such a rant for me, because I see a lot of online entrepreneurs who are going after this money. They're doing all the strategy and they're going after the money, but they've somewhere along the way, they've lost their passion. They've lost their excitement. And if you don't have love for what you're selling, it's over. Absolutely, it's over. And this is what the top online entrepreneurs know. But there's more too. So Jackie says, absolutely, it's a must. Yes, you must. So Jackie, do you feel sometimes that you get a little overwhelmed and lost when you're doing all the things and the strategies and you get in your head? Or do you have some sort of task that, like a trigger for you to help you remember why you're doing it in the first place, to help you get your message out? Because this is something that is really important. And Dawn says, I absolutely love what I offer. So Dawn, tell us here in the comments what it is that you offer. Okay, so this is actually one of those situations where you are being asked to promote your business. Go ahead and do it. Jackie, go ahead and tell me what it is you do. So we need to talk about the passion and the excitement, because we as online entrepreneurs are trying to do so many different things. And I am going to out myself here. I am not reaching one of my goals. I was due to release a book here at the end of this month, and it looks like it's going to be next month. And I'm doing all the things, right? So do I get in my head? Yeah, I do. I get in my head sometimes. And it's a good thing I have a coach, because she's there for me when I need it, because it's difficult for me when I'm busy. I homeschool and I'm a single mom and I'm doing all the things, right? And I am trying to help my service-based online entrepreneurs. That I serve female entrepreneurs who are trying to create an impact online. So let's see what Dawn says. I help people discover and fulfill their life purpose. I really love that. I love that so much, Dawn. So God bless you for doing that, because a lot of people really need your help. And I imagine that is something that fuels you. So let me ask you, Don, what fuels you every single day to help people find their purpose? And Jackie says, I look to find triggers to permanently release them. Staying compassionate towards self is of the utmost importance. It really is, absolutely. And I feel like if we have some sort of a trigger for us that helps us to actually become more aware and remember what it is we're doing and who it is we're helping, then I think that we can be better in our business. Would you agree with that? And that's one of the things that is so difficult. So how can we realize that there's a lot of entrepreneurs who are just maybe even just coaches, right? Because they think it's easy, or an online entrepreneur. It's easy. I'll just start a blog. I'll just start a podcast. It's easy. So when we realize that there's a lot of online entrepreneurs who are doing it because they think it's easy, first of all, I think that they're out of their mind. I think that they're crazy, because being an online entrepreneur is not easy at all. It's not. But it's just like any other entrepreneur. And I've had brick and mortar businesses too over the many decades. So I can tell you, being an entrepreneur is not easy at all. So Jackie says, I love helping to help others to restore balance, inner peace through compassion towards self and others. Jackie, God bless you. That is wonderful. I know that, I think it's a personality type too, where people are seeking that more than others. I could tell you from my own personal experience, I seek inner peace like daily. And I am one of those that don't like confrontation, and I actually look away and just run away from any type of confrontation. So I'm always trying to find that inner peace too. So I know a lot of people would really benefit from you and really love what you do. So my question would be to both of you here who are watching, and anybody else that comes here on the replay too, does the world know what you do? I think that's a really important question here. And that really boils down to your messaging. A lot of times it really boils down to your messaging. And then we're getting back into strategy again. But when the world doesn't know what you do, it's because you're not being visible, you're not standing out, you're not excited or passionate, right? How can you share your passion when you don't feel it, right? So that's why it's so important for us to not get in our head, right? And Jackie says, oh, the head. Yes, yes. I totally get that too, because we all get stuck in the head, which is why we need coaches. This is why we need someone that can help us to perform better, right? Because we get stuck in our head. So Don says, I experience joy knowing I have the privilege to guide people to the reason for why they were created. I love that so much. And I think that we become distant from why we were created when we get stuck in the way of the world. The way of the world is something that it doesn't help us with our passion, right? It doesn't help us stay in our zone of genius. We get stuck with the news, and we get stuck with all of these other things that just bog us down and keep us down. And it's really important for us to make sure that we can become salt and light for people, for the tribe, the followers, because understand something. We're dealing with, in the online space, we have lurkers and we have likers. Does anyone understand what that means here? I think this is a really important distinction. When we as online entrepreneurs have followers, we have people that are looking at us and looking towards us for answers and guidance. So we have people that are lurkers and likers. So we have to become salt and light for them. We have to show our passion and our excitement. We have to show our expertise. We have to show that we're a leader in this space. So I'll ask you again, and be sure to leave it in the comments here. Does the world know what you're doing? Do they know what your zone of genius is? I think this is really important for us, because we're talking about standing out. in the noisy online space. Does anyone agree here that the online world has gotten more and more noisy and complex as time has gone on? Well, I can tell you that my clients feel that way. So people can feel or not feel your excitement, your passion, your expertise, if you're doubting yourself, right? So would it cause you pain if you could not share what it is you do? That's a really great question, right? If you think about your zone of genius and your purpose to actually help people, to create this impact, you can imagine how what it is you do is going to transform lives, right? I know you want to transform lives, right? So would it cause you pain to not share what it is you do? And I'm hoping that you answer yes, it would cause me pain. This is really important for us. It's a real important part of this strategy, but this part is totally missing. And do you see it in online marketing as you're talking to people and you're networking with people? Do you see the lack of passion? Do you see the lack of excitement for helping people? I know, I see it all the time. Dawn says, pain and regret. So I'm not sure I understand what you mean by pain and regret. Oh, so are you saying, Dawn, that you would feel pain and regret if you didn't share what it is you do? I think that's what you're saying. And I can tell you that I would. I mean, as a single mom, starting from scratch after my divorce, I was absolutely lost and wasn't really even sure what I was going to do. But I've been an entrepreneur for so long, and when I actually started my skin spa right after I got divorced, and I had these ladies on my bed doing a chemical peel or whatever it happened to be, and they're saying to me, how do you start your business from nothing? Because I did. I had 0 clients and basically no money, and I put all of my equipment on my credit cards, and there I am going through a divorce, and I've got my 2 little kids, so it was a tough time. And I realized that there were all these women that were talking to me about business and how they wanted to start a business. And I really want to give women who are watching this today, who are starting a business, kudos, who are running a business today, kudos, especially if you've got kids or there's some sort of complexity in your life, because I can tell you, I know personally, it's really difficult, it's stressful, and yet you're doing it. So high five, or give you a 10. There's a 10 for you too, YouTube. So it's difficult. So Jackie says, I see through people's fakeness. Yeah, that is really powerful when you can see through people's fakeness, and I can too. And we see a lot with MLM in particular. And this is a really sad reality in the online space today. And I totally understand why people are choosing MLM. But the problem with it is that all they're thinking about is money. They're not really even thinking about their clients. There's this passion and excitement for transforming their clients' customers' lives, and it's missing. So Jackie says, people say fake it till you make it. But really, if you are passionate about what you do, so will others. Right. I absolutely agree. That's a very good point. And that's exactly what we're talking about. So the question of what the top online entrepreneurs know how to grow their business, this is one thing, one aspect of it. It is the strategy. It is part of the strategy. And that is to create this passion in you, to remember why it is you started your business in the first place, to always have this excitement and be in flow every single day, even in your social media marketing, even when you're doing reach out, because you're creating posts and those people are your leads and you're reaching out to these people. You've got to be a human first, right? This is one thing that people are missing. They're robotic, right? And they're just being task oriented. Jackie says, that to me is where most of the fakeness comes from, being focused only on the money. Exactly. So when we're talking about being focused only on the money, where this comes from is really being stuck in the head. It's really being stuck in the strategy because they're thirsty and they're hungry. And I understand being thirsty and hungry and being focused in on the money, but the problem is that it's not going to carry you. It's not sustainable. It is not a sustainable way of running your business. And why is that? Because in business and in life, you have hills, you have valleys, you have ebbs and you have flows, and that is the way of life. And there's nothing wrong with that. But the thing is that when we have these little hills and valleys, you're high, you're low, right? And tell me if this is something that you've experienced in your business, because you're getting stuck in the strategies, you're getting stuck in your head. And really where we need to be is love, right? And tell me if anybody knows Ho'oponopono. Just say yes or raise your hand or give me some love, some hearts or something like that. And just tell me if you understand what that is. And the thing is that, all right, Jackie knows about it. Awesome. And you know what? We really, really have to stay focused in on love. And it's love for what it is you want. It's love for your clients and what they need. And it's love for the transformation. It's love for the impact that you're going to create in the world. And you cannot forget this important strategy. So, if you are not creating this flow and you are not creating this as part of your strategy, I mean practicing this on a daily basis, then you won't be visible. You won't. Because as Jackie has pointed out, people will think you're fake, right? You won't have that love. You won't have that passion or excitement for what you're doing. You won't do what it takes because remember the ebbs and the flows, right? You won't do what it takes if you're not feeling that love. The love for your clients, the love for the impact, the love for transformation of your clients. Don says, I believe if I focus on my outcome to serve others, the income will follow. It will, absolutely. I can tell you it will. And Don, with that mindset, you will soar. You absolutely will soar. That's a really important part of this strategy. So the next part is, as we were saying, people in the online space are so interested in, tell me the steps. What do I have to do step by step? Tell me the daily tasks. Right? And I'm a visibility expert. I totally understand the marketing. That's what we're all about, right? But if you're not passionate and you're not feeling the excitement, and this last part, if you don't have the mindset of a badass, right? An online entrepreneur, the right mindset, then you're really not going to create that level of success that you want. So what kind of mindset do you need to have, right? You've got to have, like what Dawn was saying earlier, you've got to have the mindset to create daily habits. It's so important to create these daily habits. You've got to treat it like it's, like there's a gun against your head. Now, I started Fearless Pursuits, my business, several years ago when I had a gun against my head. There I was going through the divorce and I had to feed my babies. I had to do something. The gun was against my head. And isn't it interesting when you have to do something that you somehow magically do? You somehow magically pull it out at the last minute. And you know where this comes from? It comes from the mentality of commitment and consistency. And it comes from daily practices because you have to. You've got to keep your passion and your excitement for the transformation for your clients. You've got to keep a strong mindset. And I'll tell you what else you have to do. You absolutely have to believe in yourself. Absolutely have to believe in yourself. You have to believe in what it is you're selling is going to transform lives. If you don't believe and what you're selling will actually impact your clients, you won't succeed. You won't have the money that you want. Ultimately, we all want money. Why do we want money? We want to be able to make the world a better place. Without money, you can't do that. You can't donate your money, right? You can't help people that are hungry and needy. We can't give a better life to our children, right? You can't make yourself better. Self-care is so important. A lot of people are working their fingers to the bone. They're burning the candle at both ends. They've got this burnout thing going on. They've lost their passion. They've lost their excitement. Their mentality is low. Their mindset is low. And now everything that they're doing isn't creating the money they want. And that's why I have a coach, because I know what it's like, especially when you're starting a business. Because you're doing all the things, right? It's really important for us to make sure that we have this strong mindset so we can help our clients, but also to make this money, to take care of ourselves, to take care of our children, to help the world. I mean, the world is kind of in trouble right now. And if you don't know me, you haven't been following me for very long, I'm super passionate about having a clean world, cleaning our oceans, right? I think that our world is kind of in trouble that way. And I realize that if I am not making the money that I need to make, then I can't take care of myself. I can't take care of the planet. I can't take care of my babies. I certainly am not going to be able to reinvest my money back into my business and help more people, right? This is why we need to make more money. This is why we have to have a strong mindset, why we have to believe in ourselves, why we have to believe in what we're selling. This is so important, right? So give me some hearts and give me some comments here if you believe it's true that you have to believe in yourself, believe in what it is you're selling. So let me ask you a question. Are you absolutely committed to getting your message out? Just type in committed if you are absolutely committed to getting your word out, getting your message out to the world. I think that it's an important thing. There is realizing that if you are committed, then you've got to stay in touch with your why it is you're doing this. Why the heck are you doing it in the first place, right? If you don't believe in what you're doing, if you're not committed to it, right? If you're not committed to your people in your tribe, you've absolutely got to remember all this. And maybe this sounds like a pep talk, but it's like I told you, I prepared you, it was a rant. And the reason why is because people think that in order to make this money and to become visible and to get their marketing out and to stand out online, that it's all about doing a certain amount of reaching out to people and a certain amount of posts every day. And you've got to be on Instagram, and you've got to be on YouTube, and you've got to write a book, right? It's not about that, right? It's about so much more, right? It's beyond ourselves. We've got to remember our why. Jackie says, to stop the blame and the shame. So when you say to stop the blame and the shame, is that your mission? Is that your why? Is that what you're doing? To stop the blame and the shame? In what respect? And I love that in a way, because when we're talking about businesses and people, it's really the same thing. We can run our lives a lot like we run our business, because it's all about giving. And a lot of people don't think about it that way, right? Because we come home and we don't treat our loved ones in that way. So now imagine this scenario, right? You are giving your heart and your soul to your business because you are wooing your clients, right? You are wooing them. You want them to love you. You want them to buy your stuff, right? But do we do that at home? Do we do that with our family? And we need to. We need to remember that your clients can go anywhere because there's somebody else who's doing the exact same thing that you're doing. And guess what? Unfortunately, so can our partners and our spouses. So we have to remember that this passion, this excitement, this mindset that we have about believing in ourselves and believing in what we offer as a human being, as an online entrepreneur, is something that follows us in our personal life and in our business. This is what lifts us up. It's what lifts up our tribe. Jackie says, it is a continual cycle, a loop people get stuck in failed business and with themselves. It repeats its pattern that destroy people's lives. Absolutely. And my divorce was partly because of this, a great deal of it. And it's interesting too, and I want to bring up this point when we're talking about strategies. A lot of people are working very, very hard at, let's just say it's the Gary Vaynerchuk's Crush It, right? Has anybody read that book? Just say, crush it in the comments if you have read that book. Now, I have read that book, and I got to tell you, when I first read that book, I was a little bit upset about it. I didn't quite like it. I didn't like that message, but I was newly in the game of this new online space, and I didn't appreciate it because it was one of the downfalls of my marriage, in which the marriage, and I'm trying to be careful how I speak about this because I don't want to come from a place of bitterness and resentment, but it fell apart because there was this lack of love and lack of commitment and not having that full passion towards growing. And I think that this is really important that we realize that if we are an online entrepreneur, we do need to be everywhere. We need to stand out. But it doesn't mean that you have to kill yourself in the process. You don't have to end your marriage. And this is kind of like this continual cycle that Jackie's talking about that people get stuck in, right? And we realize that we can lose ourselves when we get stuck in this loop. It's really important for us to understand this. So what is the answer? So the answer is always to have that strong mindset, to have that passion and that excitement for what it is we do, that passion and excitement for our own life. But it does get very, very difficult, as I mentioned before, with the ebbs and the flows. So what I suggest everyone do, and this is what the top online entrepreneurs know, and that is to have an unshakable mind, right? An unshakable mind for becoming visible. So when we think about becoming visible in the online space, does anyone here understand what exactly does it take to become visible? So we realize that there's a lot of fear and lack of confidence that a lot of people are experiencing when they're dealing with becoming visible and standing out online. So here I am, I'm creating a live stream here on Facebook and a live stream here on YouTube. And let me tell you, once upon a time, it was something that was really difficult for me. And then reaching out to people. So if you don't know some of the strategies on how to talk to some of the people, you can create a post, a marketing post, and then those people that react to your post, who are commenting on your post, are your leads. So then what do we do with that? So some people just let it go. They don't even reach out to them, right? And why do they do that? Because they fear rejection. They fear that they're going to somehow look a certain way. They're going to look salesy. They're going to look slimy, right? We think about the car salesman immediately, right? So this is part of the strategy, right? So we realize that we have to be really, really good at our messaging. We have to be really, really good at capturing our leads. We have to be good at follow-up. We have to be good at sales. We have to be good at closing the sales. So the thing about this is we realize that in order to become visible in the online space, we have to be absolutely unshakable with our mindset. And this is difficult for a lot of people. But this is one of the things, the aspects that the top online entrepreneurs know. I can't quite see what Jackie is saying here. Let me see. Well, my screen on my phone is a little bit small here, so I'm going to see if I can see what Jackie says here. I love to be able to share what people are saying here. Okay, so Jackie has here C, PTSD, borderline personality disorder, attachment styles, etc. Mind mastery to me can unwind the ancestral web of self fulfilling prophecy to free the mind and bring back peace. I love that. That is so perfect. Absolutely true. I think that we have to be very, very careful with, the idea of our mind mastery, because we can get stuck in our head. And it's something that a lot of online entrepreneurs, any entrepreneur, it doesn't matter if you're brick and mortar, or it doesn't matter if you're an online entrepreneur, it's the same thing. And you know why? Because there's this one common denominator, and it's us. Absolutely, 100% us. And we realize that your subconscious mind is the one thing that is keeping you from your goals. It's because you don't have that unshakable mind that you need to become visible in the online space and become unshakable in any of your marketing. So we think about marketing. It doesn't matter if you are on stage, perhaps. You are speaking on stage. What does it take for you to speak on stage? It takes an unshakable mind. It doesn't matter if you are in a networking group. Maybe you got in your car in your local city to go down to a networking group. Looks like my YouTube is going to end here, so I am just going to end that. Say goodbye to YouTube, everybody. Thanks for joining me.